Hi there, I haven't posted a video in a while, but today I'm going to cover a beer style that I haven't really covered in that much detail yet before. I have here a bottle of St Peter's Mild. Some of you may have had the St Peter's beers before. They're based over in Suffolk, in England obviously. And Mild's an interesting style that I kind of want to go over a little bit before I open this. It's an interesting style of beer because it used to be the most popular style of beer in the country until it was overtaken in popularity by bitters in the 1950s. It was originally developed in sort of the 18th and 19th centuries as a less aggressively bitter alternative to the porters and stouts of the day that were very popular at the time. So basically nowadays Mild is usually a darker beer, usually sort of dark black to brown in colour, and it's usually between 3 and 5%. And the term mild, the reason why it's called mild is not so much because of its lower alcohol content, but more to do with the fact that it's usually a term which is used to describe a beer that is low in hop content. So it's usually a lot less bitter. You're talking about all the chocolate and caramel and all that kind of characteristics that you'd normally expect from sort of stouts and porters, only without the aggressive kind of bitterness. That's usually what you're going to get from what's a typical mild style. But anyway, I have St Peter's Mild here. And yeah, some of you may have had their beers before. It says here, classic example of a beer mild in hops but not in flavour. Sweetness balanced by bitter chocolate malt to produce a rare but much sought after traditional mild. So without further ado, I'm going to open it up and see how this rates on the mild scale. This is the only bottle of mild that I've seen in any of my supermarkets that is labelled mild anyway. Sometimes beers can be quite sort of mild in their style, but they don't necessarily say the word mild on the bottle. This one does. The term mild has become slightly out of fashion really. It's usually got a bit of a image for being associated with older 80-year-olds and that kind of thing. It has a bit of an old-fashioned image about it. So in terms of its cool factor, I think it's really suffered over the years and declined in popularity quite steeply. In the north of England you can still get it quite easily. In the south of England it's very, very hard to come across in any pubs. So very unusual to see a bottle of it anywhere really. But this appeared in my local supermarket probably about 6 months ago or so, and it's still there, so they must be selling some of it. Anyway, smells as if it's going to be quite sweet, slightly chocolatey as well, almost like a stout really, to be honest. It's yeah, quite stout-like in its smell. Maybe a bit more sweet smelling. It does seem, this one seems very much more like a stout than I remember Milds being like when I've had them down in the pub. But it is definitely malty based. It's definitely predominantly malty based, but maybe slightly more hoppy than I kind of remember. But that might be more of the kind of dry roastiness that I'm getting at the back that maybe I'm mistaking for hot bitterness. But it's definitely very, very dry, very stout-like, very chocolatey-like. Yeah, very heavy sort of roast flavours in there, definitely. But overall, yeah, it is definitely a mild. But definitely drier and more roasty tasting than I remember them. The ones that I've had down pubs anyway have been more sweet, more sort of sweet malty type taste about them, more sort of, maybe a bit more caramelly with a bit of sort of sweet sort of chocolatiness about them. This one very, very dry. Mild's not really a term that I've seen used so much with beers over in North America. But if you do see something that advertises itself as a lower hop beer that's very malt based and that kind of thing, chances are that's kind of what it is. Is a traditional mild. It's definitely very much a British term though, along with the term bitter, I guess, which is also a British term. So yeah, I mean, back in the days, you would ask for. I guess back in the days, what you would ask for is like a pint of bitter or a pint of mild. But an interesting style that I wanted to introduce anyway. Hopefully that gives you some idea of basically the style and a short introduction at the very least. St. Peter's Mild, quite a nice beer. I'm not going to say I'm wowed by it, but very, very pleasant. It's only 3.7%, so definitely in the realms of the alcohol content that a modern day mild is supposed to be within. Although they can get anywhere up to 4 and above. I think Banks and Taylor Black Dragon Mild is about 4.5, for example. But anyway, yeah, that's mild for you. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Cheers. Bye.